Clear. Go.
Everything is coming together exactly as I planned.
Welcome to the gameplay demo walkthrough of CD Projekt Red's upcoming title, Cyberpunk 2077. Before we start, a small but important disclaimer. The gameplay you're about to see is from a work-in-progress version of the game. Everything you see is potentially subject to change. Keep in mind that what you see here is not final. We just want to give you a glimpse of what will be possible in the released game.
I ain't got a final plan yet. Arthur, I ain't got it. I just need time.
Welcome to the Cyberpunk 2077 2019 Deep Dive video. It's one of those places where expectations and reality collided, resulting in a heap of disappointment.
I need time.
So this is Louis, and I decided to speak about this issue today based off of this video from Legacy Killer HD. I consider his channel, Young Gay's channel, and others that I follow to be what I call hype channels. And that is, they give people what they want, in that they provide people information based centered around gaming in this instance. But they provide details to people that people want based around games, and in doing so help hype games. Their brand and what they do is information-based. It's more that than opinion-based, and I'll speak about opinions in a second here. Jeremy from the Quartering, I think, does this a little bit, but it's more scattershot. It's more issues. It includes politics. He's more willing to give his actual personal opinion rather than do what they do, which is triangulation. But if you don't know what I mean by triangulation, triangulation is what people erroneously refer to as fence-sitting, but is, in essence, the idea of looking at what people already believe, look at what other people are saying, and figure out for yourself what is best for you, your brand, your channel, and what is closest to what you consider to be true. So if you take a particular issue, you look at, well, is there two sides? What do both sides believe? What are both sides' arguments? What do I believe to be the most true of the given situation? And also, what is popular? Based off of those factors, that's how those people render their opinions on something. And I would say that Jeremy is not like that. He's actually different from Young Gay and Legacy Killer, but I would argue that that is definitely true about Young Gay and Legacy Killer. They are hype channels, and their opinions are based off of what's popular, what is the current zeitgeist, what are people saying on Reddit, and they will, in effect, and definitely with Young Gay, it's true with him, they will lie by omission. They will take the weakest arguments, they will avoid the hardest arguments, they will accept some criticism, they will ignore other criticism, and they will put out their own opinion that's always tepid, and it is not even like a nuanced way, but they will, in effect, give you what you already know, what you already want to hear, and it won't be in a position from like someone such as myself. It won't be an angry rant. I very rarely hear rants from either. Young Ye will rant, but it will be about an issue that he knows that will directly benefit his channel, such as anti-consumer practices or microtransactions, what have you. He will take a hard stance on them to the point of absurdity, and that's the other video that I've yet to upload where they're conflating gambling in GTA 5 with microtransactions in Battlefront 2, and it makes no sense. He will make no sense, he'll be absurd because he knows it's popular, and will lie by omission. Jeremy from the Quartering will be hyperbolic, but he won't lie, and he will actually offer an actual personal position, and the reason you can tell the difference is his position is nuanced, even if I think he's wrong, at least in part. But with Young Ye, he's just wrong, and it's because he's making an erroneous argument, but it's at least popular, so what does it matter? What does it matter if the argument makes sense so long as people want to hear it and it helps grow the channel? I don't really want to denigrate these people because that's not really the topic at hand, but it is the impetus for why I'm doing this video. Because Young Ye and Legacy Killa and a bunch of other people put out videos, I think, because of Jeremy, where Jeremy took my position in criticizing the gender shit in Cyberpunk 2077. They took the opposite position. And their positions were not even nuanced, and they were not worth even listening to. They lied by omission. They avoided certain arguments for the sake of conveniently making an easy video and not addressing the hard criticism that does exist. You never hear one word about Mike Pondsmith. You never hear one word about the fucking lore. If it's not just a dismissal, they avoid the actual criticism that exists for the sake of trying to diminish criticism against the game that's now stacking up. And the most recent video by Legacy Killa is basically, it's trying to soften the blow of more and more criticism against Cyberpunk 2077. So that's the topic. That is really the topic. I watch these channels. I follow these channels for a reason. They can provide a great deal of information that otherwise you wouldn't know, and so that's why I'm subscribed to them. But the thing is that it's like watching a news network. The more you watch, the more you know outside of what they're saying, the more you realize that they have their own position, and it's not based off of personal bias, but it is, in fact, popularity based. It's triangulation. It's what can I show that, you know, as it relates to opinion. If it's just game information, they will just provide you the game information. But if it's related to a controversy, they will take a position based off of what is going to benefit them. They are biased in that sense, where you have to be wary about what they're actually admitting, what they're actually talking about, what they're actually so-called refuting, and what they are simply omitting for the sake of not, because that sometimes there is a right side. Sometimes there is a wrong side. Sometimes there is a position that can be taken in the culture war where that person, that side, that view is in fact the right one. And the other side cannot refute it. The other side's only position is, well, why not, or begging the question, you know, basically dismissing the other side as though simply by having an opposing view, that automatically makes them just inherently wrong. And on the gender issue, there's a lot of that. That's been mainly what I've seen is, bro, why not? Which is simply you saying, you know, why are you even here? Because I don't agree, why are you even here? And it's like, well, I don't really need your permission to hold the differing view. And I have my own reasons for holding this position. It's not for no reason. It's not simply for partisanship. I have a real reason why, and that's more than I can say about you. Whether it's the cynical neutrals, you know, what one angry gamer would call quote-unquote centrists, which I believe, you know, it's just cynical neutrality. It's triangulation. It's what's popular, what's going to get me subs, how can I defend this company, you know, to get invited into a closed-door meeting as a journo. What is going to benefit me? How can I dismiss this other side? How can I take a tepid stance? I'm not trying to denigrate these people, but it's very clear that that's what's going on. And it's for more than just this one issue. So the issue here is something that concerns people like this, but it's in fact to do with expectations and the difference between having high expectations and low expectations. With high expectations, when you are at your most hyped, when you have your highest expectations and you view something as the ideal, it can only be diminished. You can only become more disillusioned. You can only have your expectations lowered. Because once you set a standard, once you set a level of expectations, people will simply expect that to continue on. When what you're providing for them to see does not meet those expectations, people's expectations fall, and then criticism will begin. People will be spurred to criticize what they're seeing because it's not meeting the expectations of what they have previously seen. And you're seeing this more and more and more with Cyberpunk 2077 and CD Projekt Red. More and more criticism is galvanizing all around them. And while Legacy Killa can present that and try to mitigate people's criticism, and while Yang can try to fucking deflect it...
Just remember the 5 Ds of dodgeball. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
It doesn't matter if you try to flack, so long as the criticism is real. And the issue that people are having is, originally, you had screenshots. You had the very little information that was being provided. Everything was up in the air. Everything is fucking conceptual. Don't believe anything until it's in the final version, blah, blah, blah. But eventually, they had to show a demo. The original trailer set expectations very high. The demo footage kept them pretty high. Mine went down a little bit, but they were still high. And the criticism they got out of the original demo was mainly based around FPS. It was the universe, the setting, the fact that it was at day rather than night. Were all of those criticisms valid? No. But the way that you can refute them is simply by engaging them. And that's what a lot of people did at the time. As they said, well, it's all at the daytime. It's not really neon. It's not really, it's not Blade Runner. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, we haven't seen it really at night. So just wait for it to be shown at night. Where they showed it at night was in a trailer. And while I thoroughly enjoyed the trailer, that isn't honest, is it? That's not gameplay. That's a trailer. And like I say, while I enjoyed the trailer, I thought it was a good trailer, it's dishonest. And because of that, you got more criticism. You got more people saying, well, you're not meeting my expectations. You're not showing me the game. You're giving me a cool trailer, but you're not actually showcasing what is actually in the game. And that is something that they're now dealing with. They have tried to play a hand of keeping things closed door, keeping things word of mouth, having Yang upload a video where they talk about what they saw at a closed conference, at a closed press showing of the content. They try to keep it media presenting an idealized image of what they saw rather than what you saw. But because it's being presented through that proxy, it's still not, in a way, dishonest. What is dishonest is a trailer rather than gameplay footage. That is dishonest. And with the trailer, it's 90% third person. It's not first person, which is the overall basis of the game. It's dishonest. People like the cutscenes. They like this interaction. They like the graphics, the pretty visuals, and the intensity and the seriousness of what you're showing. But the problem is, like I keep saying, it's not honest. So, eventually, you skip past Gamescom, you don't want to show it there, we're just going to show it on the 30th. They released the new demo footage, and rather than show the 50 minutes of what was shown previously at E3, rather than show that, they give you a chopped up, neutered version of that. And when they did that, oh boy, was that a mistake. That was a big mistake to make, because not only is it, again, dishonest, it's something that does not measure up to the original demo. This chopped up version does not measure up to what was originally shown. And because of that, now there's a whole slew of criticism that's come out. Now, because of that, you have a freaking wave of criticism based around the footage that was shown, the fact that it was edited, the fact that it's now being said that the game is mostly first person, that the cutscenes in the original demo, that's the exception. That's not the rule. So when you show this trailer, this is totally dishonest in its entirety. Like, this is not the basis of how the game is going to look. this is how the game is going to look. First person. Which, I mean, there's a huge discrepancy there. And while I'm fine with first-person games and even first-person RPGs, I don't like you playing around with this shit. I don't like you deceptively editing shit. I don't to help you to avoid the technical issues you're going through, which people are now commenting on. With the graphics, people are claiming that there might be a downgrade. We don't know yet. And I'm not going to speculate to say that there is, but I am going to say that once the question is raised, you're now on par with what happened with Ubisoft in Watch Dogs. You guys remember that? How crazy people went when with what happened with Watch Dogs was that the game was graphically downgraded to what was shown in trailer footage. People absolutely lost their minds over it. And there is now the question. I'm not going to say either way because I honestly, from looking at what I've seen, I don't know yet. Whether it's just a graphical issue, maybe the footage just wasn't the best, maybe they put it on a different platform graphically, and that's what the result was. We don't really know, but there is a discrepancy between what was originally shown at the E3 demo and what was now shown in this chopped up so-called deep dive footage. There is a difference. People have noticed the difference, but they just don't know why. They don't know what is causing that. And like I say, I'm not going to speculate. Just to say that there is an issue. And what's needed is clarification. But I can guarantee you they're not going to clarify. Because as of now, they have yet to ever do it. Everything they've done has been to disillusion more and more people as it relates to this game. It has never to basically take people's expectations and then raise them. It's yet to happen. It's in free fall at this point. They are galvanizing more and more criticism against them because they simply cannot show people the game. And they cannot explain the choices that they're making that raises people's expectations. You already had people's expectations the highest they could be for this, and you simply can only go down. So long as you cannot meet the original standard, expectations are only going to lower. And the more they do, the more upset people are going to become. And the comparison that I'm going to make, and I'm not really going to talk much about it, is my expectations of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. So there has been gameplay footage floating around that have come from mainly journos playing the game, doing like 1 or 2 missions. Not really a whole lot of footage shown, but it gives you an overall idea of what the game is going to be like. Is it AAA worthy? In my view, no. It's a AA game. It's got weird kind of glitchy gameplay. Graphics are okay, but not amazing. Atmosphere's okay. The voice acting seems fine. The audio seems kind of glitchy and buggy. They're probably going to have to work that out. And originally, if I remember right, there was an article floating around out there about one of the writers being like a huge SJW. I can barely recall that, and I'll see if I can search around for it. But my expectations for that game, being that I'm not a huge fan of the original, are fairly low. I view this as a AA company making a AA game that the more I see, the more lore that's given, the more I'm introduced to what's going to be in the game, drip by drip over time, the more I'm willing to forgive about what I've seen in the past, what I know about in the past. The more I'm willing to say, you know what, maybe this game won't be too bad. You know, maybe the writing will be fine. The voice acting seems fine. It doesn't seem hackish. It doesn't seem BioWare level. The elements of the story seem interesting. The factions that are now being introduced and the clans that everyone already knows, that seems fine. It looks okay. So my expectations were low and are rising. The reason being, what I'm seeing looks fine to me. It's not necessarily overwhelmingly impressive, but it's at least not bad. It's not really something that I find the need to criticize, and so my expectations rise. That's what you want. You want to have people's expectations rising up to release, where we're 7-8 months out from release for Cyberpunk, and people's expectations are like in free fall at this point. Because the more information that's released about what's going to be in the game, the more people have a problem with it. The more people are willing to say, like, listen, this is a bad development. This is a bad move. this is a bad aspect to the game. And not just it's something I'm critical of, or something that, you know, if you prefer third person over first person, it's not even a preference thing. It's just this is a bad aspect to the game as far as we can tell, because they're so unwilling to actually detail the specifics. It's always conceptual. It's always, oh, everything's up in the air. Everything, we don't know what the fuck's going on. We don't know what the fuck's going to be the end game, except for the gender shit. Don't worry, 100% rock solid. Bing, bang, boom, it's done. It's in the game final version. We're ready. It's ready to be shipped now on that aspect. But every other fucking thing, they're still making changes. And again, 7-8 months out from release. Just not good. Not smart. And it is disillusioning people en masse. And that is simply, I mean, it started out fine, the way that they were marketing this, but holy shit, are they making wrong choice after wrong choice. The amount of you, I don't even mean me, outside of myself canceling a pre-order for the art book and saying that I'm not pre-ordering this game. I know people that have canceled their pre-order for this game. I know people now that say they're going to pirate it and not play it. That's how animated people are at this point. At least some. And as far as I'm concerned, the amount of people that are in that position are growing. It's not diminishing. The amount of people that are upset with Cyberpunk and with CD Projekt Red, the amount of people that are like that, it's growing. And if you're a company trying to produce something that's going to make you billions, you should be concerned about that. And you should not be playing into it. You should not be, like, assisting in disillusioning people to your game. That's not a smart move, and yet consistently that is what they are doing. I see people trying to deflect, I see people trying to omit, I see people trying to flack, I see people trying their best to, you know, take bad aspects to the game and polish them up as much as possible for CD Projekt Red, when CD Projekt Red can't even defend its own game, seemingly. Like, they rely on proxies to defend their game. They seem unwilling to defend the decisions they're making, when the decisions, in large part, make no sense. Like, I already see people say that they're actively calling for modders to mod Cyberpunk day one to introduce third person, like as it is in a Fallout, where you have a choice between third person, or even in freaking GTA 5 or whatever. Like, people want third person, actively want it. And I'm not even saying that that's what I would go with, because I play Fallout first person. But it's nice to sometimes scroll out. And you already offer it in cars and on motorcycles and in certain frames. You can play third person in Cyberpunk. So for them to be so resistant to the idea, to where now they're saying, no, we're cutting out most cutscenes, they're going to be in first person. It's like, yo, that's you playing into something that's already unpopular. Why? Like, why? You explain it to me. I can't explain it. I don't understand their fucking reasoning, and they're not forthcoming for anything other than, well, it's for immersion. Well, people don't see it as immersive. People, you know, a lot of fucking RPGs are in third person. A lot. A lot of MMORPGs are not in first person. So what you're arguing here doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to those that play RPGs. But, again, Skyrim, Fallout, there's a lot of very popular mainstream RPGs that play mainly in first person, but they give the option. And outside of you being able to choose your gender pronoun, which is yes, in the fucking game, omit it all you want, Legacy Killer or Yongi or whoever else, omit it all you want, there's a fucking pronoun option in this fucking game, and that is beyond anything any other company has done. As much criticism and as much shit as I have given to BioWare and many other companies over the years, they have never done that before. They are the first. This game is on the same level as some sort of fucking script-only game with no visuals. Like an interactive novel, a visual novel. You know what I mean? Like, this is some Tumblr-level shit that has been introduced and is in this game and will be their launch day. Like I continue to complain about, everything else is conceptual, but this thing, it's rock solid going to be their day one. That is confirmed content when everything else is up in the fucking air. Even the graphics now are up in the fucking air. What are you doing? What are you thinking, Polish beta males? What in God's name are you doing? Tangent aside, it's like, and I'm sorry for that, like, I can't help it. It's just amazing to me. But as it relates to expectations that people have for what you're producing, you gotta be more honest. You gotta just show it for what it is. You gotta just say, hey, you know what? Here's the game. Here is the fucking game. We're gonna give the controller to a fucking journo to spaz out and be shit at the game, and that doesn't make the game look good, but we're more than willing to do it. Here it is. Here is just the game. And you won't do that. You're so carefully crafted, and yet at the same time, you're diminishing people's expectations because you're so unwilling to just show the fucking game. Every time you have a fucking trailer or footage or whatever, it's like, bold, right on top. This is not the final version. Don't have expectations. We're gonna change it. Yo, 8 months away from fucking release. This shit should be fucking done. Show us the fucking game in its final form, polish it up, deal with the bugs, deal with the bullshit in Q&A right now, but otherwise this shit should be fucking done. What's more, if Rockstar, with all the money in the world, can introduce first person, if Rockstar can have all sorts of internal cinematics and that sort of thing, they can animate their fucking game, if they can manage it and a AA game can manage freaking animations, so can you. I don't believe you when you say it has to be in first person. It can actually be in third person. It just requires your attempt to animate it. It might take you more time, but that fucking delay the game then. Better to delay the game and manage people's expectations, try to raise them, than to consistently lower them. Which is what it is now, which is what you are doing now, more and more. This has not been a good month. It's actually now September, but last month was not a good month for you. You expected it to help you out. It has definitely not. And rather than have every other person on my fucking channel saying that they're not going to fucking pre-order your game now, do the opposite. Give them a reason to pre-order. Give them a reason to have high expectations. Show the game. Take a single side mission. Take something. Just take ambient gameplay. Drive around the fucking city or something. You know what I'm saying? Take each district, say, every week for this month, we're going to show off a district in the game. We're just going to drive around. We're just going to drive around and show you the city. Don't spoil anything. Don't do a main storyline. Just show the goddamn game. Do it in an intelligent manner where it's like, well, people want Blade Runner. Fine. Do it at night. We're going to drive around each district once in the daytime, once at night. We're going to do this district in the day, this one at night. Whatever. Just do something you think is actually going to manage the expectations that people have for this and show the game. Stop with the trailers. Stop with the edited footage. Stop with the, this is not the final version. Show the fucking game. Seriously. Include third person in the game. Listen to the fucking fans. Listen to the fucking people that want to pre-order. Stop listening to Tumblr and the journos. Stop listening to SJWs on Twitter. Listen to the people that actively are saying to you, I want to pre-order your game and I am unable to at this moment in time. Listen to those fucking people. You can't see it. I'm just sitting here in silence, shaking my head, mystified. I can't understand what the fuck they're thinking. And it doesn't matter how many people flack for them. It doesn't matter. You can't cover up actual criticisms that people have, rightful criticisms, based on ignorance even. Even if you want to say that the criticisms are wholly illegitimate. They're based on ignorance. Well, whose fucking fault is that? And I'll leave it to you to say either way. Am I right? Am I wrong? What do you think? What do you think of what I have said? The bold statement that I have made? The criticism that I have offered that is in no way tepid, that is in no way fence-sitting, that is in no way triangulated. This is simply my view. This is simply how I see it, as it is. Why don't you offer me what you think about what I have to say, rather than I, on high, flack for a company that I don't give a goddamn about. That I am a fan of only in part, really. That's history only exists that of The Witcher as a series and nothing else. Give me what you think about what I have to say. Because in all honesty, I want to like this game. I want to be willing to pre-order this game. Because I just the other day pre-ordered a game that's coming out in a week. But I pre-ordered a game the other day because I said, you know what? This company has been forthcoming with what the game is going to be like. And even if it's not a fantastic game, it's a AA company. It's a AA game. My expectations are only so high, so even if it doesn't meet expectation, it's still just a AA game. But the fact is that this is something that, according to the journos, is supposed to be taking on Rockstar, supposed to be taking on GTA 5. And when GTA 5, in its current form, is just beyond measure eclipsing you, that says something about you. It doesn't say anything about them. It says something about you in failing to meet expectations that your fans already have had for months on end. Rather than listening to Tumblr, listen to your critics that actively want to buy this game.
I used to log into my HSBC, talk about banks, kill 'em with peas, run up in your gal's house with 2 of my G's. Get the money out, put the money in his mouth, then suffocate man with about 2 G's. Suffocate man with about 4 G's. Suffocate man, then I might just breathe. I'll bury man 2 foot shallow, ain't got time to dig 6 feet deep.